So welcome to week 8 of the weigh-in, which is a show where we follow the Hot Fishin Points competition and looking at the results of the majors, the opens and the club matches across the country. This week we're joined by special guest Matty Dawes, who is FishO Mania winner, so we're keen to speak to him. And we've got my regular presenter, Rich Chapman, who's also going to look into the details with us as well. So welcome to the show, lads.
Good, mate.
Are you all right?
Matty, you're actually just pulled up in a car park somewhere looking like you're dogging to have a chat with us. So you made a special effort for this.
Dodgy services. No, it's been fishing. Fishing marathon. Aston Air. It's just down the road from Munkall, so if people have been Munkall, you'll see it on the way home. It's like a nice big lake and it's all car fishing, big car. Had a bit of a nightmare, but just annoying.
It's nice. Well, where you didn't have a nightmare was obviously FishO Mania. So how is it now being a fishing celeb?
Right. To be fair, it wasn't really. It was just normal because I went to Lindholm, and then since I come home, it's been a bit surreal, really.
Yeah. Like what does that mean? Like, what's different?
I don't know, just like sitting there thinking, and then you get messages and a lot more like people messaging you, asking what to do. When I went to Western the other day, and it just every time you see someone, they talk about it.
Yeah.
So, it's not a bad thing. You can't get away from it at the minute. It's not a bad thing, really, but it's just that everyone wants to chat about it. It's good, really.
You're bored of it yet? Or is it still
No, not yet. No. Can't believe it still. Just like laughing, like speaking to Jay before on the phone in the match, and like just as if it's like weird. But
yeah, I suppose it's one of those, isn't it? You look back and it could have been so easy to, like, a couple of fish lost or something like that, and it's a totally different result, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I was talking to. Actually, I had a few people ringing today, like, but Bagger on me today chatting about stuff, and I said it's weird how, like, if certain people on different pegs and stuff, how that would dictate what happened, which I think is mad. It's mad when you look at all results today, because, like, even like today's match, if I drew a different peg, I wouldn't have caught what I caught, and then if a guy that's won and drew a different peg, would they have won off that? And it's just that's the good thing about fishing, in general, really, isn't it?
What do you reckon on the original draw? Would you have won it, or could you have?
No, I was confident, but then like looking at it now, no, because like you just go, don't they? I think if you're on a bend in them narrow bits, so like that's what would it be? I think it was 16, 17 area, around that 16, 17, 18 area. They just go from there. Don't really, maybe they go, I don't know, with the pressure and stuff. I think you just like go up and down, but no, the first time I don't think I'd have been. I was confident, but I don't think it'd have been any good.
Yeah,
that's it. Just random stuff like that happens to go in your favour on the day is all you need.
Yeah, it's a lot of luck, isn't it? Really.
That's it. Fishing is one of those sports. There's so mmany variables, and luck in fishing is one that's massive, right? From the draw to so many other bits.
Yeah, that's what I think. I know people say, "Oh, you can't beat them, you can't do that," but like, there's a thing to that. Like, you can if stuff happens in your favour. That's what I mean. You got to like. There's so much outside influence that can just affect it, can't it? Like wind, different pegging, sort of like that. Even like I know you don't go on natural venues, but like they can have canoes, swimmers, and all sorts of stuff, can't they? That affect it. So it's just.
You'd be annoyed if you got a canoe at Westwood. Yeah, it's one of those though, isn't it? Like, you've been in enough big finals now that it was almost felt like you should be getting a chance and stuff like that, and that's all you've got to do, isn't it? Like, keep getting to there, and eventually you get one of those days that goes in your favour a bit, and you've got your chance to not mess it up.
Yeah, I think it's weird though, isn't it? Like, you know, when like you sit down and you think, "Oh, that was a chance." It never really was it? I think it's you making stuff up in your head, thinking, "Oh, if I dropped down the edge earlier and stuff like that." But like when you do well, you think you sort of like know in the moment. Like even when I qualified, I thought, "Oh, 16 canals, like right, I've got a right chance there." And then when I was fishing, I've just got to keep going.
Yeah.
But you could go on a qualifier a week after and be like, "Oh, I've got a chance," where you're like £20 behind, but you're like, you're not the right. Like, I think people overlook it really.
I don't know how much you know about this hot fishing tournament, Matty, or if you've been following it all. I think most people have seen it knocking around. They don't fully get what it is. I don't know where you're at with it.
I wish I went in it now. It's weird. I'd like to two things about it, really, because when it first, obviously, I think it's the 5th of June it started, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I looked and I was like, well, I'm not framed in any matches, so I'm like, what's the point? I didn't think I'd catch anything. And I qualified. And then I don't know why, I just thought, oh, I'll be at Westwood, I'll be practicing, I won't be trying to win the match. I thought it'd be pointless. And then when I've gone to Westwood, I've actually just fished. That's how I practiced. I've just fished. And then I look back now and I think, I shouldn't have been normal. But really? I didn't realise how much I was going to be fishing, but I should have looked ahead. But I said to Rich the other week, I'm going to do something, because I don't know if I get any other finals, but I've got a lot of time free in September, October, November.
Yeah.
So do something like winning ways and stuff and focusing on that sort of element, if you know what I mean. That's what I said I was going to look and do, because it's good, isn't it? Like I go to Western a lot and they buzz off it.
Yeah.
They love it, like Alan, Richie, they'd like, oh, we'll get points there, and have you gone in it? And I'm like, I forgot.
Yeah. The Western lads have really got into it. And I think what it does as well is it's not trying to just get that one good match, right? It's a true thing where you can actually balls it up a few times, you can do well. It's literally seeing your results across a season, across different matches. And I think having those categories of matches as well, like putting the majors together, the open matches and the club matches, I think it does try and even it out as much as possible in a sport, like we've just said at the start, that is so much about luck, but it does even it out a little bit more. Yeah,
I think the thing is that what you're looking like, you lot are doing is like the consistency of people, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking. Oh, he's in the majors there now.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a look at it actually. So this is the Major League here, which is where you've done most of your fishing, Matty. So if we're looking here now, we can see the majors. You're in the 5th position at the moment. You've dropped down a couple of places. So I know you fish some opens as well that are in here. So what we do is if you fish clubs, opens and majors, with the majors, we just put the results of your major matches together and stick them here. So you can see how you're doing against all the other lads. So 38 points, you dropped down 2 places this week. And you fish kind of 8 matches so far. Yeah, you see people that frame well, like something Jay Perrystone's had a little good run, hasn't he? Yeah. And then like Kieran, and then Callum's. If you said to people who'd be up there about looking at the league, that's who you'd probably say off their little runs.
Yeah, I think that's it as well on that major side of things. You don't need loads of first or seconds. You can get one result where you're in like top 3, top 4, and suddenly you're like right up there. So it's almost
like Christian's in it, and he's qualified months ago, and he's still thereabouts. You know what I mean? That's what.
So, but I suppose there's a few more on there now. Obviously, it's mixed up this one because they've included UK Champs and everything on there as well. Yeah. So you've got UK Champs, and then obviously Fish Midlands and Fish North. I think he's done a couple of, hasn't he, in between. But yeah, it's one of those that once you get to this end of the season, it's probably less matches going on, so it's almost easier to get that 1 or 2 results if you're still fishing them. But it's one of those. Do you think
it's worth even doing the majors during winter, the autumn and winter? Like, I don't even know what people will fish it. Like, there'll only be a couple of.
It depends if you have on the Flyer Classic, the Dangling Trust one. I think there's a few others, isn't there? There's Golden Rod, or whatever there is, or
Fish South are doing a Silvers one now, so there's
still a bit, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just working out what comes under that category. Obviously, on the natural side of things, I think I don't know if they carry the feeder ones on through winter or not, do they?
The Golden Rod, isn't it, through winter?
Yeah, that's one with the final in sort of March, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always a dodgy one, that, isn't it? Because it's a 2-day final, and I remember it a couple of years ago when it's absolute, like, it was almost frozen on Larford. It's chucked it down with snow for 2 days, and it was like horrific.
Yeah, I remember watching that, thinking, God, I'm not there.
That time of year where it can be red hot and then like mega, and then it can be freezing and vile.
Yeah.
standard.
The thing that's down here as well to see is I think we're paying out the top 8, I think, in the majors, and it's only the people obviously with like everyone shows in here because you might have seen, Matthew. What I'm trying to do is just raise a profile of the sport, right? Trying to create proper leagues, and so people looking into the sport can see how it's done. So everyone will appear in here whether you buy a ticket or not. But if you have a ticket, that's the only way that you qualify for the prizes. So you can see Kieran, Christian, who's in 14th position, is going to be getting the 4th prize, which is probably about I think that's like 500 quid, something like that. So do you know what I mean? Like, for the people that are just getting involved in it early, like, it's worth doing because there's so many people that would have been in the prizes.
So what's Matt missed out on if he's second? If he finishes second, what's he missed out on?
Who was that? Sorry.
What would Matty have got if he was second?
Would have been 600.
It doesn't matter to him now. He's got 50 grand in the bank. He doesn't care.
Oh, that's what everyone says in a minute.
Small change to him.
They all said that before when I didn't win. They were like, you don't need it. It's like some point.
Yeah.
And something we spoke about a few times before, do you think for the majors next year in particular, because they're so big, right? Because there's like 100 people in most of these qualifiers, we should give points to more than the top 10 just so people could kind of get in the points, or that just means the same people are going to run away with it with more points, right? It's just that the people are just trying to get a few more people involved, I think.
I think with the majors it's a bit different, isn't it? Because everyone's it's like different anglers go to the majors, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think everyone's just trying to achieve. I don't think you fish a match thinking, I hope I come 10th. You're always trying to win. That's what I think. So I think as it is now, it's fine. Because obviously if you come 7th or 8th, you won't even realise until you looked at Hot Fishing, would you? Because obviously you won your section, you'd be like, I won the section, or come second in section, but at least you got back. Got 4 points. I think it was the last time round, I had like points on I didn't even realise I got some. But then I was like, I was 10th in that. I didn't realise I was 6th, or like, just a good little guideline, really.
Yeah, I suppose if you're having one of them days where you're like, I'm definitely not going to win from here, but it might be enough. If you brought into it and everything, you got a few hundred quid on the line sort of thing, you've got that little extra motivation to say, I'm not going to give up, I'll just plod away, see if I can nick a couple of extra points from a day that you might have packed up and gone home sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You could always just tick along, just keep going, and then obviously see where you end up.
And I've said this several times, like, while this is just kicking off and people are just getting used to it, like, the prizes are not mind-blowing. I could admit that now, but I think as this grows and more people get involved, like, the prize money, this could become massive as well, that it isn't a bad second up prize. If you come 10th in a match with a qualifier, but you're still getting points to something where you could be winning 10, 20 grand at the end of the season, I think people are going to really start getting into it. Yeah,
I like the idea, mate, just because it adds something. Like, qualifiers it can be quite daunting. Like, I think I counted before I qualified for FishO, I had 14 and then 3 once, and it's like, what's the point? But imagine if I come like 7th, 9th, 12th or whatever, and had like 20 points off it, but top my thing up, and then I know it sounds like, I think it was 30 quid, wasn't it, the ticket last time, or 50 quid.
Nothing.
That's just another qualifier, it's nothing. But then if you got 300, 400 quid back, you pay for some fuel or some more tickets, doesn't it, for that? That's the sort of mentality I think about it. Like, I know everyone's not the same, but with them qualifiers, I think a lot of people, if they're there to win, aren't they? So if they can get something back from that, and then obviously put some more back in to try and win some more and try and get them finals, it's a good way to look at it.
I guess it's also the kudos, right? Of like, this is almost the majors league that we run is almost like the Champions League, right? It's all the matches with all the qualifiers, all the tournaments with all the qualifiers. You're king of the hill for the bragging rights. That out of all of them, you're the one that's doing the best.
No, don't say that because Jamie's top. You'll hear that. I love it. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, because like, I know you can't say it's like, but them qualifiers, you're trying to put yourself at the highest level of fishing, aren't you? You're spending a lot of money. You're putting yourself in between the best of people. Like that list there, that could be easily a final list. Yeah, easily. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you think you're putting yourself in between them people. You think, yeah, that's nice to see that league as well. But it's nice to see the other league as well, if you know what I mean. So, like, obviously, I say I've got a lot of affiliation at Western, just see all them up and down. I check with my daddies sometimes and stuff.
All right, then, so let's take a look at the Open League now as well. And this is typically like the fisheries, right? So this is kind of are you the king of the hill for your particular fishery? So, Rich, is there anything that's jumping out here? The one for me is it's the top 5 has not changed week on week.
No, it's kind of stopped. You've got that same sort of group of venues, haven't you? Your Partridge, your Bradshaw's. Messingham seems to be a bit more up there this season. But yeah, I think Chris Weeder Senior, he's been pretty. I can't remember when he wasn't top of the table sort of thing, but he's one of those
matches as well.
Yeah, fishing plenty of matches. Obviously, dead good at Partridge all the time, and he's just. Which one was it? He's won the senior or veterans at Partridge.
The nationals, the veterans national. Yeah.
So it obviously one of those. It was him and Steve Openshaw, wasn't it, who've won either one of those. So, but obviously both. When you look at them names, they're two people who you typically associate with that sort of F1 fishing, and they're doing it all the time. So, obviously, mega result for them. But obviously, as you go down, it's the same group of lads that seem to be battling it out. Obviously, Chris is getting a bit of space between them, but is it week 9 that the sort of droppers start to come into play and you start to see a bit of a mix-up on the results and everything?
So it's week 10, just so you might know that, Matty. So if you fish more than one match a week, it takes your best session that week as well. And then over the 13-week season after week 10, it uses your best 10 sessions. So just trying to balance it out a little bit for those people that can fish a lot more and people can't go every week. So it's as fair as I think we can make it given the circumstances.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you can miss a couple of weeks if you needed to. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so either miss a couple of weeks, or if you have a couple of shockers, you can sort of redeem yourself at the end of the season. So it starts that week 10 proper mixes up the results a bit, because I think at the moment it definitely does favour the lads who are fishing week in, week out, but then you can see some big movements. But I think that's the interesting one when you kind of compare Chris and Jack Grundy, who's second. Obviously, 11 points between them, but you look at Jack, literally fished 8 matches, so that's ridiculous when you look at it compared to like some of the other lads. We've got Chris on 26 matches, Phil Barwell just down there on 34 matches. So there's lads that are fishing pretty much like 2, 3, 4 times a week. Roy Bradburn 37, and then Jack to be second is just going to Bradshaw's, been mega consistent, fished 8 matches on Hot Fishing, and it's like to be second off the back of that is mega in the Open League, isn't it, when you compare it to sort of how many matches have fished around him. So it shows it can be done when, even if you're not fishing 3 or 4 times a week like some of the lads are, which I think with the scoring system as you've got it, proves that everything's sort of working.
Yep. What's really good as well now is like what's nice to see is I think it's the same venues on here, because these are venues that have really bought into it, like the Partridges, the Westwoods, and you see if you click on those venues pages, loads of their anglers are buying tickets because they can see that their venues are regularly doing it. And I'm really hoping that the plan for this is come winter, when it gets a bit colder, that where these matches might not have had as many people because it's a bit cold or a bit wet, like people are going to turn up now even during that crap weather because they want to get their points. So I'm hoping that the venues start to see this is good to be part of. 1, just for the exposure for the fishery, but 2, we're going to get more bombs on seats because people are coming for their points. Like even since last week, we've got Rookery Waters have signed up, Moorlands are putting their results up every week now, Woodlands, Thirsk. So like what's going to be great is that because they're joining a bit late, we're probably not going to see them in here, but because they're now going to be submitting their results all the time from the start of next season, I think we're going to see loads of like movers and shakers in here. So I think that's on me now, just to get all the fisheries signed up on here. But I think the word is out there now, and that they are seeing the value in being part of it.
Yeah, and I think the thing you're seeing at the moment is obviously your Partridge, your Bradshaws, Westwood. They have like dead regular matches, so the people who can fish a lot during the week and everything, they can go to that venue and score points on every single match. Whereas I suppose people that dot around a bit here and there, they might fish a few matches at somewhere that scores with it and other places that don't. That's where you almost need more venues on it. Then you'll start to see a bit more of a mix-up at the top of the board where people might not be fishing the same venues, but they're still being nice and consistent.
Yeah, and Matty, you were saying that you fish at Western, right? That you know that they use it a lot.
Yeah, they love it there. They're like obsessive. Like the checkers, I can remember the other day. I think I was there the other week, and they went in and checking whether it was 10 on and stuff. And so I was just like, that's brilliant. That it's just like right what you say there, isn't it? Like you get people coming in, and no one wants to fish lower attendance matches. You want it nice and big and stuff like that.
That's brilliant. I didn't know that. That makes me happy to hear that. Like I know.
They love it. Like I know a few of them down there because remember Alan speaking to me about it, and he's like, "Well, I won £300." I was like, "That's good, isn't it?" He's like, he was made up that he'd come up there and like they have a little. I think it's like a bit of rivalry. Well, I've got to get that, and I've got to beat him and beat top of Western and all that. It's just.
Well, we've actually changed the. We had this system now. So each venue now, if you click on the venue in Hot Fishing and click to see that, you can actually see who is the top rods who just fished those matches at that venue. So that was a bit convoluted in the past where if you fished only one match at that venue, you'd appear in those results. But what it shows now, let's say if you'd fished 10 matches and 5 were at Western, it will just show the results of your 5 that were at Western. So I'm about to put that live later on today. So I think the fisheries are going to really enjoy that as well, right? Like you can literally have your ranking for the venue, which is really fun. And you also have this kind of nationwide as well. And that's what I'm trying to do, like bring the sport together a little bit more because the banter of knowing who are the top rods at the fishery is what I think a lot of people want.
Yes, I smiled when I was top the other week. And I thought, I'll wait till I see Alan. But I haven't seen him yet, but he's probably above me now.
I suppose that's the thing, isn't it, now? You even if you wanted to do it just as the venue, something between yourselves, you can use that as a scoring system. And if you have 20, 30 people regularly using it, you can all chuck 10 quid or something in and be fishing for a few hundred quid on top of it sort of thing. So you can just use it as something between yourselves to...
Exactly. And I think we've spoke about this before, Rich. I'm always trying to think about how to get the venues motivated to want to start to use this. And I was maybe thinking of doing like a venue championship at the end of the season. Like of the anglers that bought a ticket for each of the venues, the top 3 anglers with a ticket go to a big individuals match and teams match and get them at the end. So just something that, just a bit more competition, right? Of bringing everyone together, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Stuff like that is be mega. I think especially as you come into the winter where I suppose a lot of people are going to be on winter leagues and they're going to be going to the same venue week in, week out. To have something extra to fish for at the end of it, not only a few quid and stuff to keep you excited, it's something like that if there's a big final to come at the end of it as well. And then...
Well, we've spoke about this a few times. So how I'm changing the mechanism. So when you sign up at the start of the season, you can elect which you want to be your home venue. So then if you finish top of that venue list, you will get invited to this final. So we'd have the top 2 anglers from all the venues across the country competing against each other and stuff like that. So just to throw some more stuff in there that you can kind of get behind your team then almost, right? If you're the regulars at the venues. What do you think about something like that, Matty?
Yeah, it's a nice idea, really, because you can imagine, say, like, for example, say if I was in it and then say like, I'll take Alan, for example, because he goes fishing. Imagine he's got to go to a new venue, which I sort of know. How much will we work out together? And then vice versa with other people as well. It'd be like, it's just you forget, like, I'm in like a little bubble, aren't we, where we're doing these qualifiers, trying to get in the finals all the time, but you forget, like, years ago you used to love winning an open and count how many times you won, and I think you forget that, if you know what I mean. So imagine like them coming them having to come with you and going, right, we're going to go there, we're going to have got a pairs final thing against Partridge, it'll all be different. Sometimes Chris might be in it with someone else, or that they might be in it with him, and they're like, oh, you haven't got in it, we're going this time. And I think it's good. Like, maybe over the winter's better, because obviously there's less stuff to do.
Right.
And like you say, get them going more and more regular, because they want to get to this thing where it's the final of it all.
And it becomes like your team then, is right. Like if you fish at Partridge regular, you're kind of all your regulars at Partridge, you get behind you and stuff. I like the idea of almost like football teams, that you start getting behind your team as it goes around. Brilliant. All right, lads, shall we have a quick look at the club league as well?
That's it. So I think, again, it's almost settled at the top, hasn't it? That top five not particularly changing. Dave Chapman, did he win it? Or was he up there last year? Did he win it in the end? Or
No, he didn't win it, but he was up there last year.
Yeah, he's starting to run away with it. I think we can say sort of 20 points clear of second place. Was he one that had a ticket last year or not?
Yes, Dave did.
Yeah, so he's obviously right up there, up for a few quid and everything. But yeah, obviously pretty much same as the last week or two. No major changes until you get down to, where is it? Alan Rainbow, who's jumped up 31 places, and he's won with a ticket as well. So I don't. Should we have a quick look where he suddenly got a load of points from? Yeah, four first and a second he's had on his results. Oh, that's down the road from us, that BJ's, I think. Is that the same one? My dad fishes there. But yeah, he's obviously won a match on there, was second at Portland Fishing Lakes. This must be a club around us, because Rycross just down the road as well. Not heard of that, Portland. I'll have a look at that. But yeah, he's round this sort of area, but he's just been nice and consistent throughout. They must have added a couple of results on there that's bumped him right up the leaderboard. We
obviously know the pegs that are winning at the venues and stuff, so there's loads of stuff that we can do to let people, let's say you're going to be on peg 4 on Covey 3 or whatever it is, you can kind of click some buttons, see the performance of that peg over time and stuff. So the more matches that get on here, the better information we've got to get the UK match scene that the anglers can actually use for other things as well.
I've done that before with Facebook. Type in the peg and it can come up
yeah.
And then check what it's had in the past, and then if you're unsure, obviously I've been a lot of.
But the issue you've got with that is people will only post typically. Like if you did shit off that peg, you'd probably not have got anything. On here, you can see the true performance over time, right? You can see if it was a dud.
Rich didn't push on that one.
Yeah, exactly. One thing that I'd like to get your two opinion on, actually, that keeps coming up, especially in the club matches, is some of these big veterans matches. So you see some of the guys that are running away with it here fish like veterans matches. There's a big one at Tunnel every week. They get like 50, 60. There's one at Partridge as well. I think some of the other venues. And I'm getting quite a few anglers now not complaining, but just saying, like, should they be classed as open matches? Because it's not a true open, right? Because if me as a 40-year-old can't go in there, what should that be classed as? It's not necessarily a club, right? You're not in a club once you're over 60.
Yeah, I think a club's got to be something that you sort of pay into and you're part of, isn't it? So it's the same group of people. I don't know with those Tunnel, the over 50s or over 60s, whatever it is at Tunnel. I'm guessing you can just, as long as obviously you're over 50, you can just ring up and book on.
The Tunnel one is truly a club. I think it used to be a very small club, but it has become a club. But like there are quite a few on the fisheries that do these like veteran open matches, and just people saying, well, if we can't fish it, is that fair? Because there's so many people involved in it. Like, I'm curious where you would categorize them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always, in my head, a club sort of one where you're not going to the same venue week in, week out. It's almost dotting around here, there and everywhere, isn't it? Or you've got...
Would you keep them as an open match?
I'd have thought them ones that obviously I'm not 100% on how they actually run it, but for the numbers you get in there and stuff like that, obviously I think it probably wouldn't harm them, sort of thing, because for the amount they get in there, if you're consistent on those matches, you'll probably be, or with those sort of points, you'll be top of the Open as well. So it's not, I don't think it'd do them any harm, because they are big matches and obviously decent standard anglers there. You get like a lot of the venue regulars winning or always up there framing in the Open matches as well. They'll probably be fishing the over 50s or whatever if they can as well.
What are your thoughts on that, Matty? How you categorise those big veteran matches?
Yeah, there's a lot of over 50s, over 60s matches, isn't there now? I think, I keep referring back to Western, it's easy. Like on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's just over 50s and 60s, that's it. But they get good turnouts, do you know what I mean? They get 15, 20, 30 plus on some of them. So it's like, I don't know, they are open match anglers, aren't they, really? It's like, and a club for me is like what I used to be in years, like Rich said, just like you pay your 50 quid to enter and then you go to like, say, Ehrenbrook, Partridge, Tunnel, weekend away at Moorlands or whatever like that, and then you go to your little club waters like the Canal or something like that. But unless they did like a league where it's like over 50s league, but then that's more again. But
well, if anyone's watching this and has any ideas, this is the dilemma that I'm stuck with at the minute. It's going to stay as it is for now, but need to figure out how best to do that. Yeah,
because I suppose he's just got, obviously Dave Chapman's got the runaway on that because of the size of matches, whereas typically a lot of your club matches might be a 10, 15, 20 peggers sort of thing, where it's the same group. That's going to be what's made the difference, where I suppose if you take Dave off the top, then as a league it's proper tight below that, isn't it? Sort of 77, 75, 60, not like that top part becomes very interesting, and whether that kind of limiting it to those style of clubs that you fish in different venues and it's the same group of people, whether that keeps it as a league more interesting, more people involved, and keeps it a bit tighter.
Yep, so I'll speak with the fisheries, I'll speak with the anglers. It's good to hear your opinions, and I'll just every season just keep trying to tweak it to make it fair, right? It's like the whole reason a fishing match has sections to keep it a bit more fair, always trying to tweak the rules.
Yeah, but then obviously it's not doing Dave any harm on it when you look at his top on joint topper on the overall as well, so it's not as if it'll do him any harm. It's not trying to do him out of anything at all. It's just making it as a league and everyone on the same playing field.
So if you have one quick look at the Open, the overall, so just so you know here, Matty, how that works is obviously if you're fishing Opens and club matches, those Open matches are shown just in the Open League, the club, and it's just a club. But what we then do is all your matches appear on the overall here. So if you're fishing majors, Opens, we're just trying to crown the UK best angler, right? This is the title that I think a lot of people would want. Where are you on here, Matt? You're in 11th, actually. You've dropped down 8 places this week, but still not bad, right?
Oh, no. No, it's good. I should have bought a ticket.
So I think right now there are, that's 11th out of how many anglers have we got in here? 5,879 anglers as well. Unique anglers that are kind of in all the matches that have been involved. So pretty good going.
I think I got like a few to go on probably as well. I think from the one call do it. I think they do, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, I went there yesterday. So
they won't be in here yet.
Just one of them. It's like you look at it, you think I just didn't have time, and you think I do fish a lot of matches. Like I think I'm going Western tomorrow, and there's I think there's 15 odd booked on. That's still a chance, isn't it, to get some points if you were just fishing normally or anything like that. It's just you look at it, and you think, I didn't think I'd have time, but it's not bad really. Yeah. Had a good little run recently, so
can't complain at the odd 50 grand.
No, that's what some guy said to me today. I said, it's annoying when they come off, and he's like, well, you can't mow. Just walked off, and I was like, okay, see ya.
I like him. I like that. Just,
Yeah.
Not talking to you now.
Ruthless. Then he come and got some pellets off me, so he's happy.
But, yeah. Are you still like, obviously you went straight to the Lindome Festival afterwards, which I suppose is still quite big matches and stuff. Are you still getting like a buzz off fishing your opens, or is that more of a chill down, just have a bit of a laugh with it?
I think last 2 days were like enjoyed because I went with my dad and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he come fishing. I drew next to him yesterday, and he's been 2 down for me today. So like I enjoyed that sort of thing. But yeah, I think I said I'm not going to fish the weekend, and then I think going back to work will help. I know it sounds daft, but like you get to look forward to do your gear again, to then go again. I think because I had 2 weeks off because I shut down in work. I think that's like take a bit for granted at the minute, if you know what I mean. Just I'm going fishing tomorrow, but as well the weekend it's like right, well, if I get up early from a night shift on Friday morning, I can go to Western. Or is there a few on? Yeah, sound right. We can have a go on that then. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a bit weird at the minute, like.
But after 2 weeks, your gear starts to get battered, and you're knackered. Yeah.
I can just tell, like, I need to stop because, like last day of Lindome, I trashed loads of elastics. Like today, it's like they're all coming. Like you're thinking, nah, you just need to chill out now. It's getting too much, but.
But well, thank you for doing this, Matty, and congratulations on FishO Mania, mate. Well done. What an achievement.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Rich, thank you very much, my friend. Speak to you next week.
Great. Nice one. Cheers, mate.
See you later.